the University of Speedrunning,
Oh God.
live on Twitch.
I'm pretty sure I like just barely passed that course.
I mean, this is just the freshman year though, so
Oh, okay.
this is
So
like a
I can get away with
first,
that.
yeah, it's like a first year course.
A degree in speedrunning, a degree in fast,
Degree in fast.
like rapid engineering,
Good old rapid engineering.
accelerated gaming. You got to give it like that formal twist to the terminology for it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, absolutely.
Probably do the retweeties.
Yeah, g'day, g'day, Unbreakable. G'day, g'day,
Howdy.
all really. Yeah, probably might as well just start kicking off. I mean, this isn't anything too formal, um,
Yeah.
so we might as well kick it off. So yeah, good afternoon, everyone. We're AusSpeedruns, obviously, given that you're on the Twitch AusSpeedruns channel. And a little while ago, Cure Cancer approached us and just wanted us to be a part of their Game on Cancer Holiday Spectacular. The original sort of idea was to potentially do like a mini marathon sort of idea, but look, we didn't really want to put something that fulsome together, just given the time frame. But we did want to be involved because look, we love Cure Cancer. We did it, our most recent event uh, with PAX was raising money for them, so we do love the charity absolutely, and we did want to be involved. So we decided to spin up a little panel and present that to you all, and hopefully this will become a maybe even a valuable resource moving into the future as a sort of primer on who we are as Oz Speedruns, what we do, and about speedrunning generally. So thanks everyone for tuning in. There will be a time for questions at the end. We'll try and take whatever questions we can throughout, but mostly we'll try and park them for the end. And we'll kick right off. Let me do this, and then we'll come back to our slideshow. So first of all, we should probably introduce ourselves. So I'm Softman, 25.
And
Um,
I'm Astrius.
yeah, and together, along with someone else who might be here, Dave the Fade, in 2015, actually more like 2014 really.
Yeah.
Um, in 2015, we founded AusSpeedruns. Back then, it was the old Skype group.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was the Skype group, which was founded from a Speed Demos archive thread to try and get people involved. Those were the days. Um,
The archaic days.
the truly archaic days. But yeah, in 2014, we got ourselves involved with AvCon, Adelaide's anime and video game festival, through a panel, sort of like what we're doing here. Although they had, I think we did some live speedrun examples, which we won't be doing
Yes.
today. Um, and yeah, at the time we did a panel, and then the next year they said, "Yep, let's do an event." Um, and from there it was kicked off, and here we are doing bi-yearly events. So that's who we are, and all speedruns generally. As it says there, at the time in 2015 and previously, there really just wasn't anything in Australia that was a focused speedrunning group or event. So we sort of came in to fill that void. And I'd like to think over the years we've been able to sort of grow ourselves to, try and reach out to at least a big part of the speedrun community in Australia. And obviously, yeah, if you know anyone that's not doesn't know about all speedruns or ASMs, get them involved.
Yeah. We basically set out to find Australian speedrunners and bring them all together, and that's effectively what we ended up doing. And now we're at a point where we do have like a decent
Mm,
number of Australian speedrunners. It's growing every year. So I feel like we got our initial goal accomplished.
absolutely. Um, And yeah, and since 2016, we've raised an absolute bucket of money. We're very whilst the core focus of Oz Speedruns has always been um, to focus on that community, focus on that speedrunning community, and bringing everyone together, having a great time. We are also, of course, in addition to that, very proud of what we've done for charity. We've raised, as you can see there, over $65,000 for a handful of charities over the years. Beyond Blue is our primary charity for the events we hold in July's. And the second half of the year, we do sort of try and mix it up a bit because obviously we don't want to be a one-trick pony. And so, yeah, Child's Play, Australian Red Cross, Cure Cancer, amongst the charities that we've raised money for. And yeah, I just thought I'd make a bit of time here to very specifically sort of shout out the fact that it is really, a community effort. We can, Asti and I sit here and go, yep, we're, the coordinators, we're running things and all that. And to a degree that's true, but to a degree it's also, we are very quickly becoming, some of the least important people because there are so many people who put in such fantastic efforts from staff to runners to people donating to people watching, such as people as yourselves right now in chat. Um, it's really is a holistic effort that's sort of made Oz Speedruns very successful. And we just want to give that real thank you to everyone who's out there who has been helping us out over the years to really kick some goals.
Yeah, shout out to all of y'all. You helped make us actually what we are today.
Yeah, um, and that's both past, present, and future. So that was good stuff. Now that's mostly who we are. So as said though, the main focus of the presentation is to discuss speedrunning itself at the core. So when it comes down to it, our general view, when we sort of thought about it and sort of distilled it into its simplest form, so to speak, it is completing a video game as fast as possible under a certain set of conditions or restrictions, which we call categories. So the most common ones we've got up here. So any percent is, literally do anything you want. Do anything you want, just reach the defined end of the game. So that might be, defeating the final boss or getting to the credits. There's going to be, most games have a defined end. And it's, any percent's just, do whatever you want. 100%, as it says on the slide there, it does vary from game to game, but generally speaking, it's going to be to do everything that counts towards progression. So for example, the easiest example is Super Mario 64. The any percent right now is 0 stars, because you actually don't need to get any stars to beat the game. You just need to beat Bowser a couple of times and just do those levels, and that's fine. But 100% would be to get all 120 stars, because that's like the tracked progression of the game is stars, and therefore that 100% is actually in that game known as 120 stars as the category, but it would also be considered reasonable to call it 100%. Then finally, the other most common category is no major glitches or glitchless, which is similar to any percent, but generally speaking, they'll go, okay, these glitches, these ideas, you can't do this. The easiest example of that is Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time any percent. Um, because there are so many glitches that fundamentally change the nature of the game, they've delineated that completion of that game into a variety of categories wherein certain glitches are restricted and no glitches are allowed in order to just enhance the variety of the speedrunning community. Because if you're just doing any percent, the current any percent tricks are very, I think the word I'm looking for is oppressive. Like they're very significantly technical, specific, and you'll actually see that a bit later. Ocarina of Time 80% is actually one of the example speedruns that we want to show you today. And you'll see exactly what we mean, that it's very weird, it's very oppressive. Whereas if you actually want to just play the game, you don't want to do that particular strategy. So
Yeah. Primarily, the point of like a no major glitches or a glitchless speedrun is so a speedrunner can still like enjoy the game's content while still speedrunning. And then obviously glitchless is for people who aren't interested in performing glitches. It's more about like your knowledge of the game and your ability to perform those things. Um, and we can go into more of the like glitchless content later on when we get to the glitching cheating sort of side of
Yeah.
things, but like, and then of course there are like many other categories, and they you can sort of see the theme that they go with where it's like a percentage, and that's more tying to like your older games where when you saved it your game had like a percentage to it. So like any percent implies that you're going for like a lower end of the percentage, but there's also stuff where we put on additional restrictions to make the challenge more difficult. Like, for example, low percent in a Metroid game involves you getting as few pickups as possible. So that means you're going to have like the minimum amount of missiles, the minimum amount of HP, but you're
Mm.
still going to beat the game. So it adds that extra sort of difficulty or challenge to it. You can kind of imagine it as similar to what I've seen a lot nowadays is like no hit challenges where people are like, how far can I get through the game without taking any damage? It's kind of like that where what we're trying to do or what speedrunners are trying to do, we're trying to enforce a like rule set so we can get more out of the game than just a casual playthrough because you can only casually play through a game so many times before it gets boring or you already know what's going on. So this is about getting more life out of your old video games.
Yeah, it's another form of like pushing the limits of what can be done.
You could sort of tie it back to like if you think back to like your arcade eras with your Donkey Kong and your Pac-Man
Yeah,
where it was about high scores, you can think of speedrunning as the natural progression of that like high score hunting desire subset of game video game people where like there were people that would hunt for the highest possible score, and now there's people who do speedrunning because not all games have a score component
yeah,
into it.
yeah, absolutely. Um, and yeah, it sort of replaces that, some sort of metric of skill, so to speak. Um, Now being time in this particular context. Um, but yeah, so kicking on, yeah, speedrunning often involves glitches. This is a very broad spectrum idea of what a glitch is, but it is a big part of speedrunning. Is in order to use, like an any percent category, it's just you can do anything you can to beat the game. This was a really apparent recently with regards to Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and I think Shining Pearl's the preferred speedrun version, where they just kept finding, like the Pokemon speedrunning community kept finding new things to be done. Um, yeah, new things that could be done in order to, I'm trying to think the best way to phrase it, in order to better complete the game faster, for lack of a better word, really. Um, yeah, they just, they were trying to do whatever they could, and that often involved some really wacky glitches.
Mm. It's always about pushing the absolute technical limit of the game itself, and and as it's specified in that dot point, we're referring to within the game itself, like in the sense that you could theoretically put in the same game into your console and do the same thing and get
Yeah,
the same results.
and that to us is very much the key. We've sort of covered these points, so I'll just kick on. Because yeah, this is something we really want to. I mean, as two people who have been like really involved in speedrunning, like well, obviously we're not trying to make it into a contest, but obviously we've dealt with a lot of different people, a lot of different speedrunners, and in a lot of different contexts, as well as sort of the general public in regards to their involvement with speedrunning. Running the event for 6 years now. So this is something. This topic of glitching versus cheating is something that we've sort of I'm actually just going to hang on. We'll pop out the entire slide for this one because it is, yeah, it's very much just something that annoy is the wrong word, but you read speedrunners will post their latest personal best to YouTube, and there's always this one person who's like, well, actually, if you played the game without just cheating, it would be much more impressive. And it's just,
Yeah, so like basically whenever speedrunning breaches from its community bubble to a wider community of just the general public usually, so it can include video game players as well, but like so YouTube videos that go viral, your Kotaku catch articles, like your low hanging fruit stuff, Facebook videos, whenever a like and it's often the most extreme form of speedrunning. Like your really wow factor any percent speedruns of a game that like just obliterate it, right? Those ones generally tend to generate these. I would refer to it as just ignorant or just like uneducated comments about how there's this assumption that what speedrunners are doing is cheating as opposed to glitching. And this conversation, this slide is like the tip of the iceberg. This is a rabbit hole you could dive down and you could have a 2 hour full blown TED talk about and still not get all the bits and pieces out of it. And this is why there are categories like glitchless or no major glitches, where it's like if someone turns around and goes, oh, but you're not playing the video game, the fact of the matter is that there are people who are beating the game in a really quick time frame without doing any of these things you consider to be cheating, but you don't care about it. And that's again comes down to the fact that a lot of the times that speedrunning breaches its community bubble and gets out to the greater community is when there's like it's that catch, that sort of hooking article that grabs your attention. It's the this
yeah.
person beat the game in beat this brand new Pokemon in 50 minutes. And when it comes to the public opinion of this thing, I think what a lot of people don't realize, or I guess they don't really think about it, is they assume that the first thing a speedrunner does is when they pick up the game for the first time. Like, let's say I've got a brand new game that I'm about to play. I'm a speedrunner, therefore I will go as fast as possible. And that is like 99% of the time completely wrong. Naturally, every single speedrunner will play the game casually first and then they'll speedrun it kind of thing. But you get that sort of thing. But yeah, um, a
Yeah,
lot of what dictates the glitches stuff is like intent, like developer intent, and
yeah.
that's tough to deal with.
It's a very tough sort of line because I mean I always think about it as intent because for me it's the easiest way to like internally rationalize where the line in the sand is.
Yeah,
Um, and just so the example that we've got here in the slide is the Konami code. Like we all know know the Konami code, and we all agree that if you go if you boot up Contra and just punch in the Konami code to get 30 lives, yeah, I mean that's fine. You can play the game that way, but it's outside the general scope of what was intended to play. You've put in a something to enhance the game, and I'm sure there's a speedrun category out there that says yeah, have 30 lives. We don't care, but
yeah. Who cares?
it's not the standard configuration of the game. Um, Conversely, though, and that's intended by the developer. The developer says, yep, you can just press start, or you can press the Konami code and then press start, and those are two options for you. Whereas if you go through the wall, yeah, that's not the standard configuration either. But actually, well, it is because you haven't done anything different to change how the game functions. If you take, I'm trying to think of the easy example. If you take a GoldenEye card, everyone can do little warps through the doors. It's just how the game was programmed. I can put in I've got a N64 in my bedroom right now. I can plug it in. I can plug in my GoldenEye, and I can do exactly the same thing as everyone else doing it. I'm not enabling. I'm just plugging it in and pressing start. Um, there is, however, obviously, again, there's a lot of nuance to it, and as Astria said, you could have a 2 hour talk on this, and you wouldn't even scratch the surface. Because we've got an example here of the Bioshock Infinite scenario, which is the HRH mod, the Hill Runner's Hat mod. The short version of the story is that it's an item which speeds you up significantly. It's like I think it was like a 2% drop, something like that. It was some ridiculously low number of a drop. And at a certain point of the game, you would have a chance to get the drop. And so people would just go up to that, they'd be spending, I think it was like 20, 30 minutes to get to this point in the game. And then they'd just have to keep reloading their save to get this item because it was so worth it that it wasn't like, oh yeah, if I get it, great, and if I don't, that's fine. It was like, no, you load your save until you get it. And it got to the point where, the world records weren't really being determined by the person who was necessarily the best, but by the person who was pretty damn good, but also got the lucky drop, first, second, third try, which was just absurd. And so the Infinite community sort of came together and said, no, we are modding this game. And there is still the classic any percent category, but if you have a look into it, like no one plays it because no one cares. It's just so oppressive and silly.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot. I think that sort of encapsulates a lot of what this focus conversation ultimately is trying to achieve. It's trying to get, and you'll see that the phrase varies from game to game is being used. It's all about what the community believes is best for the community.
Mm,
So if a specific game thinks that modding the game to make this 2% drop always drop makes the game more enjoyable to run, helps encourage runners to get involved, and keeps the community alive, then they'll probably create this category. And they'll always, generally speaking, the communities will create category distinctions. So if anyone comes in and goes, I don't like this, there's the alternative. It might not be the most popular option, but it's there, kind of thing. Like
mm.
it's not missing from the scenario entirely. And so that's ultimately where a lot of these discussions come down to is whether or not it's glitching or cheating is up to the community of that specific game. They go, well, is this cheating? Did the developer intend this? And then you can also subdivide glitching versus not glitching. Like the classic example I can think of is like damage jumping in Ocarina of Time. If you place down a bomb and then get hurt by it off a ledge, Link actually travels further than he normally would if you were to jump over it. And that's allowed because technically a player could do that casually and accidentally land on a specific spot. And it's not like you're not abusing like you know what I mean? It's got like already this is starting to move
Yeah.
deadly into the gray area of the discussions, and it comes down to the nuances of that community. They've discussed it, they've talked about it, they've come to the conclusion, and that's how it works.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, for the sake of it, because we don't want to bog down too hard,
Yeah,
so we will probably kick on. But the main thing I think, and I'm sure Astros will agree with me on this, the main takeaway is that, like, if you don't like speedrunning because you think we're all, filthy cheaters or something, look, we think that's a bit of a silly opinion, but that's fine. You can just do categories that don't involve glitches, but
yeah, go for your life.
we sort of as a collective of people have gone, generally speaking, developer intent, as in whether something should be in the game or not, is seen as the line between whether it's cheating and therefore not allowed, and a glitch which would be allowed, and that's sort of just it again. But that's fine.
Yeah,
If you don't want to like that, that's fine. Go nuts. But that's
you'll
sort of
probably
where
still
we
get dunked
stand.
in a glitchless race.
Yeah.
Like you'll probably still get dunked for free.
All right. So we've got three examples of speedruns. So Asti and I will just sort of sit back
A
and let
classic.
you enjoy these. These are three videos from our archives. This one's actually from 2016. So let's just quickly, if I come to Alt Tab to it, and if we do this little fade.
Dave the Fade.
Hmm?
Oh, it actually is.
Yeah. So this is a classic run from, yeah, as I said, 2016. This was when we were at the University of South Australia. At their McGill campus, which was fantastic. I still remember setting up those lights. They were very, very heavy. So we're just going to sit back and relax for about 5-6 minutes, and then let you enjoy this run.
What is the file name?
Alright, so just after that little incident that we've had there, yeah, our computer's a bit fickle, that's fine. We will get there in the end. We will get you all the runs as intended. We're going to hit up some Link to the Past. The file name is going to be Magoo. I'm going to close incentives there.
It's going to go over because it's only 4 characters, but...
Oh, yeah, we have to split, that's fine. So it's, yeah, Mago.
It'll be Magoo. Can you hear me okay?
And yes, as said, we're just going to quickly hit up with this quickly and then get up to Link to the Super Mario Brothers after this. Sorry, that announcer quiet is probably my fault. I wasn't leading in.
Can you hear me okay? Yes, no? Are you ready? Okay, you ready? Alright, 3, 2, 1, go. So here we have A Link to the Past any %. It's a pretty quick category, so don't worry, it will all be over quickly. Just mashing through text. It's Japanese because there's less of it. Oop. So now we've got the fighter sword. It's a very important item because it's the only item we get. Just a save and quit there. That's just to set up the glitch that I'm going to use to walk to the end of the game. Oh, okay. There you go. Attacked by soldiers. So now I'm walking through the walls. You can see me at the bottom of the screen there. Alright, here's the boss of the game, somewhere, on the next couple of screens. Oh, there he goes. And time.
I love that run for every time.
It's a nice, quick, easy run. That is not as quick as it can be because I'm not good at clipping out of bounds.
God, beautiful.
Bufferless.
Brings a tear to my eye.
I imagine that would be ridiculously hard to do.
The old quick one coming out from Dave there. Link to the past. And yeah, we're sorry about those sound issues. Just had a bit of
2 seconds.
sort of over-adjusted, and that always happens because we all know, I think I said it earlier, that yeah, next one's going to be too quiet. That's always what happens. But I think we've found a good balance now, so that's very good. Australia, your favourite DKC run?
Alright. So yeah, that's a great run.
Classic. Absolute
Absolute
classic.
Stone cold classic. I mean, those were, humble beginnings back in 2016.
You can tell by all the technical difficulties.
That we still have.
Damn it! You're not meant to tell them that.
Now meant to. I mean, they watch, so it's fine.
True.
Oh, it's fine. But no. I mean, it's a good run. So that was a good, example of one of those runs that's sort of defined by its major glitch. And it's a perfect example of why other categories exist, because if the only category was any percent, being, complete the game as fast as possible, you'd have just so many people just playing this 2.5, 3 minute run, which would just be absurd. So Link to the Past is one of those classic games that has those more categories.
All dungeons, no major glitches.
Precisely.
Stuff like that.
Easy. So we'll kick on to this slide here, which is, how to get involved. Because obviously the big question that so many people ask is, I love video games and these speedrunning peoples look pretty cool. How do I get stuck in? And hopefully we'll be able to at least partially answer that question. But unfortunately our answer is sort of a bit simple, because over the years, at least in my experience, everyone who's sort of tried to, approach it with a strategy, it doesn't really matter. Just play. That would sort of be the key maxim, is don't feel like you need to be, fantastic. Don't feel like you need to have, some lofty goal of getting world record or something. It's, when it comes down to it, speedrunning's a hobby. Just get stuck in. Pardon me. So a couple of things, obviously. We're not just going to throw you in the deep end like that, though. It can be easier to start with a game you are more familiar with. A game that you want to get some more replayability out of. If you played Mass Effect 10 times, maybe you want to do something a bit different. Maybe you could have a look at speedrunning. We do sort of put this warning in. The key one that got ruined for me was a game called Alpha Protocol, Obsidian's spy thriller. I think it was Obsidian.
I wouldn't know. That's outside of my knowledge.
But yeah, the key one that got ruined for me was Alpha Protocol. I speedran Alpha Protocol quite a bit back in 2013-14, and I've tried to play it casually again, and I just can't help myself but utilize some of the speedrun strategies.
Yeah, basically what ends up happening is that you've gained all of this knowledge, and not everything in a speedrun is just, I do specific thing and end the game. It's like you learn stuff about damage values, how weapons work, how enemies behave, and you find ways to navigate around those technical things. What seems like AI is actually just really exploitable behavior and stuff like that. And so it's like, if you were to go back after gaining all of this information and applying it, you would be basically tempted by it constantly. And it would almost ruin the experience just by the temptation alone. And oftentimes people like us end up just doing it anyway. And it changed. Like you can never really play that game casually again. Kind of.
Yeah, so it is, a small word of warning, but by the same token, that that shouldn't dissuade you, because I feel like that only really happens once you sort of get really deep. Like if you just want to pick it up and try it, I'd say go for it, because you're really only going to hit that sort of negative effect, so to speak, once you really get deep. The other thing we want to suggest is if you just watch some speedruns, that could be an interesting way to just, find a speedrun. I think there is actually like a speedrun or speedrunning tag on Twitch, so you can have a look at that. There's also a couple other resources that we'll talk about a bit later in the presentation.
You can sort of just go, what I used to do was I used to look up games that I loved and had played, and you just like you go, oh, okay, I'm gonna like now we've got speedrun.com as a really good example, but back in the day it was Speed Demo's Archive. I would literally punch in the name of the game and then just check what's there, and like it would have all of the categories and just watch the videos and be like, oh, this is so cool, I want to do this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's like one of the easiest ways to get stuck into it.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Yeah, just get stuck in. And so our main piece of advice, our main takeaway from that slide is just, get stuck in. I think a lot of people sort of focus a bit on the, how do I get involved? I've got to have some, secret handshake. No, there's no secret handshake. Just play games. That's really it. It's just play games. So we'll talk a bit about common resources accompanied by this fantastic photo of Astris from 2019.
I've changed a little bit like that. I have a bit more of a beard and much longer hair.
Much longer hair, but still a great photo. So one of the key resources is a specific games or series' Discord servers. Very, very frequently, even with really smaller speedruns, even if there's only 5-10 people on a given leaderboard, odds on there probably is a Discord server,
Yep.
or even something like that, where there's a common group place where everyone shares strategies, and especially with those smaller speedruns, people are always keen to get new runners, and they'll help. They will help. And part of that is because, even so far back as, the real golden years of speedrunning, which is, donkeys years ago, it's a community endeavor. It is a community endeavor. So people do come together. It's, there's
team effort.
Yeah, sure, there's going to be some people out there who hoard strategies and keep secret strategies for themselves. They get world record and that sort of, weird stuff.
They're boring.
Yeah, fine. I'd say yeah. It's not the norm, though. It really isn't the norm. For the most part, again, at least from my experience and the experience of most people I know, your 99% of Discord servers are going to have some great people who are willing to help out, fantastically friendly people. Because again, when it comes down to it, it comes back to that core adage of we just want to come together and play some video games, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely go to specific communities. The other most common resource that we want to highlight is speedrun.com. Look, speedrun.com has certainly isn't exactly the most fantastic perfect website out there. There's plenty of things that plenty of people have to say about it that's negative. By the same token, though, it is still a absolute trove of information, leaderboards, resources, guides. Even if you just want to use it as a ramp on to community Discord servers, even just for that purpose, it is a absolute,
You could think of it as the Wikipedia of speedrunning.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it, yeah.
You don't want to linger there, but it's a fantastic spot to get your reference points. Like, for example, for Vex, a video game that I used to speedrun way back in my heyday, there was a Vex Discord created. I found it through the speedrun.com page because I knew that I had sort of passed on the mantle to runners and moved on, but I saw there was a Discord there, and I've gone into the Discord, and since then I've watched that Discord grow and the runners increase in number. I've seen strategies come out that I never would have thought of, and particularly for the small game, because of how small Vex is, it has maybe 3 or 4 runners total. It also happens to have just stuff about the game itself. So because we also drew in people who weren't necessarily interested in speedrunning that came to the Discord, so it sort of grew. But I found it through speedrun.com.
Yeah. So yeah, we definitely recommend speedrun.com in that regard. And through that, you can also find other runs. So when it comes down to it, speedrunning, obviously, you can try and route stuff yourself, but especially with more popular speedruns, routing speedruns is something that is not necessarily that easy. So if you want to pick up some strategies, save time on your own runs, just watch other runners, especially on Twitch. because you can sort of interact with them. And when it comes down to it, if they're not, on a personal best run or something, and you go, oh wait, how do you do that? Even if they are, they'll probably just show you how they're doing something. A lot of runners will have, very common overlays, like keyboard overlays for PC games, so you can see exactly what keys are being pressed. And these days with, clip functionality, you can just clip it, bookmark it, and then you can work on it yourself. So watching other runs is definitely something we would recommend as a resource. In regards to, furthering your own speedrun knowledge for a particular game. But in a more general sense, speedrun.com is definitely something that we would recommend. We've also just quickly posted our own Discord in the Twitch chat. If you haven't already joined our Discord, it is a nice place, especially in the Australian context, to meet other runners, see what people are doing. People often share their PBs and talk about what speedruns are up to. Mostly it's about the AusSpeedruns events. Naturally, being the purpose of the server, but obviously, we do encourage people to, just chat, hang out, encourage each other on your runs. And at the absolute worst, you can sort of get, directed off. If you go, hey, does anyone speedrun game XYZ? If someone does, they'll go, yeah, sure. They might not, have the full conversation with you in AusSpeedruns, but they go, hey, check out the community Discord, or I'll DM you the link, or, this, that, or the other. There's plenty of options. So we're going to kick on to our second example here. So this is, again, as you can see, it's a no major glitches category. So you'll see a lot less glitching in this particular run. But we think it's a good example of a run that's not too long, because obviously we didn't want to keep everyone around here forever. And it's not too long, and it's also more of an example of that more sort of traditional gameplay is probably the best way to say it, because I don't want to say pure, it's the wrong word, but more traditional. So let's just...
This is more about execution.
Absolutely, yeah.
Player skill. No cheating. No glitches.
So as you can see, this one's from PAX 2019 when we were there. The last AusSpeedruns live event that's been held. Most recent, I should say. Hopefully in 2022 we'll be able to, God willing, we'll be able to do another live event. But for the moment, PAX 2019 is where our memories reside. And we'll, again, Ashley and I will just sort of kick back and relax for about the 20 minutes this run goes for, and we will let you enjoy it.
Alright, so a little bit about this category. 11 Exit is referring to Super Mario World has 72 levels, but quite a few of them have like different exits. There's 2 different ways to exit it. And 11 Exit refers to beating the game as fast as possible using 11 specific exits. So I'm gonna get started right away. I'm gonna have to do a lot of explaining, but timing starts in a weird way. I'm gonna count it down from 5, and then I'll press start on 2, but timing starts on 0. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Okay, so there's a little cutscene here. There's nothing to really talk about. I'm going to do a little bit of a hard strat to try and get a little bit of like a life boost just in case, because this is a marathon and I don't want to die. But here we go. Let's see if I get it. Hopefully I don't die. I got it. All right. Okay, so this level is really nondescript. There's nothing to talk about. So, like, we're just trying to get to the end of the level. In Super Mario World, there's spin jumps, of which can kill enemies in one hit. Most of them, at least. Some of them you can spin jump on, and it will, like, you can bounce off of them, like piranha plants. I'm gonna try and get a 361. No 361. That's a shame. Okay, so this next level, I'm gonna try and do a really specifically hard jump, which is off a box and then onto a higher box. It's a really tight window, but I'll try and get it. I kind of need to get it done. There it is. Alright, so I'm gonna be running on these brown platforms here for as long as I can to get the time up in the top right corner to be a 2:59. and that is the fastest time that I can get it. But it's kind of hard because I have to run on the brown platforms all the way. Like that one, and this one, and this one. And I'm gonna let go of the arrow button here so I can get a bit of a speed boost. There's the 259. Next level, I'm gonna try and do a shell jump. It's really hard. I get it 1 in 20 tries. It's a 2 to 3 frame window. If I don't get it, I don't get it. Like, it's very rare that I get it. I've never gotten it in a run. Let's see. Right here in a minute. Here. Nope. Okay, I didn't turn around at all. That's cool. It saves 0.2 seconds, so it's a good thing that I went for it. Because it would have saved so much time. And you might be wondering, why am I not getting the midways? And that is for this single jump at the very beginning of the level. You can do it big, it's a little hard, but it's a lot easier to do it small. You'll see it right away. I'm gonna mash with all 4 face buttons here to get through this cutscene. Here we go. This is the single jump. That's it. I am holding up. I am not supposed to be doing that. That's why this control is bad, because it ghosts up inputs. That's fine. And now we're gonna get the midway. That's the only time. And now I'm hopefully gonna be getting... Well, I'm gonna be getting a fire flower here, and I'm hopefully gonna keep it to the end of the run, because I need to do a damage boost in the final level. This is fine. There's nothing to do, it's an auto scroll. We've got a cutscene. Oh, okay, whatever. That's fine. I'll just wait. Play it safe, play it safe. That's a shame. I got the midway, not a big deal. That's why I got the extra lives. Ha ha ha. That's fine. We get to do this really long auto-scroller again. If you want to read a donation or two, that'd be fine. There's nothing to do. I'm gonna get this for safety. I can get a backup. It's not a big deal.
Okay, so we do have a $74 donation from Oakley Oldies. He says, "Go Child's Play." Thank you very much.
Thank you for that massive donation. Oh, hello. Thank you. First world done. I don't deserve a clap for that. Thank you anyway. 15-second cutscene. More donations. Alright, next world, we're going to be getting the cape power-up, which some of you might remember from Super Mario World, is very overpowered. You can fly over entire levels, and you can go fast, which is why we're going to be getting it. That was a save box. Ignore it. We're not using it. Here's the cape. You can fly over levels, and that's what we're going to do. This is a very intricate level because I have to tap left over and over. Okay, I'm gonna go under. I screwed up a little. There we go. That's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go over it. I didn't do it, so I did that. This level's a water level. Everyone loves a water level. This one's hard to do fast, at least. So in Super Mario World, for some reason, if you have an item, you swim faster. So I'm gonna grab a shell in this sub-level here in just a second. Right here. And I'm gonna fly up and grab it and hopefully not die. Okay, I didn't die. That was not optimal, but okay. And I'm gonna use this shell to do... Oh, no. Okay. That was surprising. Okay, that's fine. That's a really hard section. I'm really glad I didn't die. Okay. At this point, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit just to pick up a cape, so then I can do a damage boost. because like this is gonna replace the fire flower that I lost. So I'll just grab another one right here. Okay. This ghost house is annoying. I'm not gonna explain why, you'll see. Okay. That's fine, that's fine. Get P-speed here. Thank you. And I'm gonna grab this P-switch so we can get the secret exit. That key before, that was a secret exit, both of those. Ooh, I got it. I never get that. So I'm gonna use these throw blocks to kill this boo, and that'll give me the secret exit by beating the boss. And we're just gonna hit him as soon as he appears, because we know exactly where he is. Oh god, that's fine. That was weird. Okay, stay there. Thank you. Second world over. Now we're gonna go into the Star Road, which is like the hidden level section, but it's all just secret exits. We're gonna get secret exit after secret exit. This level coming up is the first like minor glitch. I'm gonna clip through blocks, and sometimes it doesn't work and it kills me. Ah. Oh. Half. I got half of it. Oop. Come on. Oh my god. Okay. I'll just... Nope. Whatever. I didn't get to show it off, but... It's a hard glitch, so I'm just gonna... Pretend I got it. Clap, please. This is another water level, and once again you can see we're gonna utilize this Yoshi to swim faster. And not get hit by the fish. Swim down here. And then here's the secret exit, literally under the level. Right here. I'm gonna show this off. Bye. This level is the shortest in the game. That's it. That's the entire level. This level's kinda hard. I have to fly under the level. If I screw up, I die. That's basically it. It's not that big of a deal. I have a backup cape. I can get another backup cape in this level. So I'm just gonna fly under as close to the bottom as I can so I don't clip onto the top. Oh, okay. Not a big deal. Oh. Come on. Oh. That was... I'm just gonna die. I have a backup cape. I'll grab another one. That was really precarious. So there you go. That's why you see this level is not fun. Come on. I'm just gonna play it real safe. Play it real safe. I'll slow down just to grab this backup cape. There we go. Come on. Grab P-speed. Okay, speed up. There we go. That's the way you're supposed to do that level. Here's the final level. It's a long gauntlet. It's probably the longest in this run. And you're gonna see, I'm gonna carry flight into this next room by jumping and then pressing up when I'm still in the flight animation right here. There we go. And I'm gonna do a damage boost here. So I'm gonna get hit intentionally. Please don't laugh. Here's a hard room. I'm gonna shut up. Nope. I'm gonna play play it real safe. Thank you, Sten, for reteaching me how to do this room before the run. Here's the Bowser fight. We're gonna be using Mecha Koopas that he throws out to hit him on the head, but we're gonna try and do it before it even leaves the card. Like this, hopefully. Can't show off the cape kill. That's annoying. Whatever, I'll do the no cape kill. It's still cool. Kind of. I just gotta wait for this. Because that Mecha Koopa is gonna disappear. We're keeping a Mecha Koopa into the second phase so I can do a minor glitch that skips an animation. So first phase, and then he's gonna chuck fireballs at us, which are very easy to dodge. I say that now, I cursed myself. I'm gonna grab this mushroom, just in case. Here we go. So here's the skip. We're gonna wait for him to stay there, and then I'm gonna try and do it. It might not work. Please? I think I got it. I'm just gonna wait here. If he throws out Mecha Koopas again, that saved like 30 seconds. Hey, I got it. That's actually kinda hard. It's not that bad. So time is coming up in about 30 to 45 seconds, depending on how much I screw up. When Peach appears, as soon as she exits the clown car, that's time. I'll yell at her. There we go. That's one hit. Time coming up. And time. 13:45 is not a bad time. I'm pretty happy with that. Cool. I did have an incentive to do a glitch exhibition, so I'm gonna quickly do that now. I'm gonna switch to a different ROM that will allow me to save state because it's kind of dangerous. This will be about 5 minutes.
Alright,
where
we'll
is it?
probably kick on
lost
from
it.
there, so I'll just fade back in to our presentation. Where's my presentation? Here it is.
Good stuff.
Yeah, that was. I always enjoyed that run. It's a good example of just like not everything goes necessarily correct. Like speedruns are not infallible. You know, things do go wrong, and frequently even live. But obviously, in those situations, there's always plans within plans. Like you heard Tango throughout that run talking, oh no, I lost my fire flower. I'll do a backup. It's fine. We'll keep going. And it's also a good, example of, as you said before the run, Astria, say execution. It's just a lot of, really smooth, precise execution. We wanted to round off the presentation by just sort of talking about, and this is all obviously very subjective. Why we do anything is always going to be very, very subjective. But as a, just sort of a general holistic idea, we sort of see speedrunning as, it's a challenge. We mentioned it before, the idea of, it's an extension of pushing the limits. So we, generally speaking, speedrunning is sort of that, challenge. How much can you improve? Some people, get tied up in the, I've got to be better than everyone else. It's got to chase the world record. But, most people more see it as a personal challenge. They more care about their personal best than the world best. And they want to, push their own limits, push their own understanding, if you will, and execution, of course. And from there, there's also, additional restrictions. So not only do you have some people speedrunning, but you have some people speedrunning blindfolded or one-handed. I think at ASM 2021, so our July event of this year, MPAP, a AusSpeedruns stalwart, performed a exhibition of what could be best described as complete and utter insanity. Mike Tyson's punch out one-handed and blindfolded, which I thought was just
absolute phenomenal run.
and
Wow.
it was like almost flawless. I think he only lost against Tyson.
Which I think was meant to be like he knew he was going to stuff that one up.
Yeah, because it's like
he was
really
expecting to stuff
tough.
it up like 2 or 3 times.
He stuffed
and he
up
only got
once. Yeah, it was absurd how skillful that entire thing was. It was ridiculous. So yeah, some people are really good at pushing themselves to the limits, but again, for most people, I would say it's about just it's about pushing themselves and seeing how far they can go. We already sort of touched on this earlier, but again, it's the idea of I've played a game 10 times. What else can we do? Speedrunning's another way of playing a game. I think that's it. So I thought there was one more point. And yeah, and the final one is just to have fun. When it comes down to it, it's just a hobby. Some people obviously take it more seriously than others, like any hobby, like anything really in the world. But it is a hobby. You turn on a speedrun to just enjoy yourself, to have a lark. Some people stream it live on Twitch to enhance their experience. Some people do it in Discord servers, and some people just do it against themselves. I would imagine, as I'm sure you'd agree, Astrid, I'm sure there are plenty and plenty of people out there who've been speedrunning for years and years and years and years, and for the sole reason that they just haven't joined any communities. They, might have a pretty good time or not, whatever, but they've just been doing it for years. No one's heard of them because they just haven't. They're just doing it for themselves, and that's completely okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of variance in what people want to get out of speedrunning. So it's like it's more down to what you want, and it's like there's going to be someone who resonates with your idea.
Absolutely. So yeah, if you think that any of this might apply to you, if you want to challenge yourself more in speedruns, if you want to, if you've got that perfect game that you love and you want to take a bit further, or you just want another way to enjoy yourself, do consider giving speedrunning a go. Now we have reached the end of the presentation. Thank you everyone for joining. Since this is more of a stream, this was also written to be done at conventions and similar in a live audience. Since this is just a stream, what I'd like to suggest that we do is we will take any questions, but first we will actually just roll our final example, which is Ocarina of Time Any Percent, from one of our very recent events. This is that perfect example of just a speedrun that just does essentially what you would perceive as completely random things, and suddenly they're done. But yeah, so if anyone does have any questions, absolutely fire them through. The run's about 10 minutes. And once we get through that 10 minutes, we'll just go through the Twitch chat and answer any questions that people have. So yeah, if you've got anything, so as I said, our experience is as speedrunners ourselves. I don't really do it as much anymore, just for time reasons. But obviously, I've had a lot of experience. I've probably speedran for maybe 5 years actively. No, because I did runs in 2019, so no, it was like more like 7 years. Yeah, so I was probably speedran for like 7 years. You're probably about the same, I think.
I think it was 2014 was when I started, late 2014.
Yeah, well, no, it had to be mid 2014 because you did runs
Mid-2014.
that battle.
Yeah, no, I think it was either early 2013 or late 2013 or early 2014.
Yeah. So we've had
Can't
plenty of
remember.
years. Yeah, so we've had plenty of years of experience as actual speedrunners ourselves.
And of course, as community leaders of AusSpeedruns, we've seen enough.
So if you've got any questions about running events or just speedrunning generally, do fire them through. But for the moment, we will, if I do my little fade through, we will kick off and let you enjoy this final example. Once again, thanks for coming along. And as I said, if you've got any questions, let us know. But for the moment, we will let you enjoy this any percent run from our most recent event, which was PAX Oz 2021.
Yeah. So I'm being frantically told to sandbag for the next 15 minutes. So I'm going to switch to interview mode. Just ask you guys some questions, I guess.
Sure.
I'm going to bust out an any percent run.
Do you want to?
we could. Actually, wait. I think I remember right.
15 minutes? Yeah, you could do that.
We could do an 80% race.
Yeah, you could finish in 10 minutes,
Alright,
yeah.
let's do it.
We can finish that in like 10 minutes. Yeah, let's go.
I was going to be like, so what made you get into speedrunning? You know?
Well,
we can answer those questions while we're doing it.
Yeah,
FYI, any percent is literally RNG. Like, we could, like, the final thing that can happen is completely random. So we could either both get wrecked or both get pogged.
Yeah,
Let
interestingly,
me know
the
when you
route
guys
here.
are ready and I'll count you in. Got the time.
Interestingly, the route here is exactly the same.
It starts off exactly the
just with an
same.
application.
So let's see how wrecked I get. And this time, no walking while talking wrecked, please.
Count us in.
Cool. 3, 2, 1, go.
So this is any percent. This is any percent. This is
any percent.
This is like, as Trip and I think Cabal said, this starts off exactly the same, except instead of going to the title file and loading that file, we do something completely different, and you guys will see if we don't screw it up.
Yo, can I get some nice hats in chat, please?
I don't want to.
80%.
I was gonna say, I don't want to bust out my anime. I think I've already pissed off enough people with that hat.
Fun
You
time.
mean captured the hearts and minds of runners everywhere, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, this is interesting.
So the only difference between the no wrong warp and the any percent setup is the file name. So you might have noticed that we had two different file names on our select in the second and third file. The second one I had was for no wrong warp. The third one is for any percent. So we can showcase just how broken SRM truly is, because we showed you a sort of a nerfed version. So
Yeah.
see how this goes.
Yeah, so if you remember my explanation earlier, as far as the game's concerned, the file name is simply binary data that's stored in a certain location. So if we change what our file name is, we change the information that we manipulate into the slot we're using for SRM, which, again, in this case is going to be light node.
I know it's a pretty common question, but I know we haven't actually had it or answered it. Why is the game in Japanese?
Faster text.
Fastest text.
No. Actually, no. We're all big weebs.
No, faster text. Actually,
we're-
IQ. Chinese is the fastest text as far as I know.
Actually, yes. The Chinese cheat machine. That's no,
Yeah,
that-
Japanese.
I joke. You think I joke about that? But that's what people used to call it, the Chinese cheat machine. And it was
Yeah, we
actually a
did-
heavily contested thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, this
IQ is its own thing, and
There's a-
we don't have it available on WeVC. So the best we can do, speed-wise, is Japanese text, which is simply a more condensed language, and because of that, the text is less to draw each frame over time.
You can
Yeah,
say
each character takes one frame to pop up on screen, and in Japanese text, it just takes less characters overall to explain the same thing in English. So for just intro cutscene alone, I think it's like 1 minute and like 20 seconds or something that you save just from simply switching language.
something like that, yeah. And it's
In many cases, you'll skip entire instances of extra text boxes just because there were less letters in every sentence.
so like ideally in a category that doesn't involve a specific file name, you just want to make your file name like one character, just so you know, as opposed to having I think 8 characters for a file name show up, you just have the one character. So you pretty much save like 7 frames every time your name comes up, and this game runs at 25 FPS. So
20 FPS in game, 30 FPS in menu, and 60 FPS in the title screen.
so like
Yep,
seven
in fast select, yep.
like 7 frames, you're saving like a third of a second, like right there, just from your file name alone. So
Yeah, in this case, we're using our file name as data for SRM, but typically everyone usually just uses one letter file names because of that.
All right. I'll say okay. If I get KEKW percented, I'll donate $50 to the marathon.
Alright, I'll match you on that.
Yeah, true.
Okay,
Do you want to quickly explain what KW is?
Okay.
So with any percent, normally the whole point was just warping to the credits, but there's a 50-50 chance that can't happen. And
What a great category.
No, it's literally like we've all seen like me, Trip, and Habel. We've all seen runners who have been on WR pace and then just get KEKW'd. Like literally, they just couldn't do anything. They just get
for a while, the KEKW world record was faster than any percent. Someone had a faster run for that.
I also had the worst rupee. I also had the worst rupee luck just now. I got 21.
I got 27.
So there's
Oh,
because
what?
of that Odyssey, there's an unofficial leaderboard going around at the moment for a KEKW percent.
Yeah, so we should probably explain what KEKW percent actually is. So, in any percent, what would... Oh, okay, I got a rupee. I wasn't expecting that. What we're supposed to be doing is using the SRM to set up a credit swap, but there's a chance that we don't really understand why it happens, but for whatever reason, the SRM can, like, decompile itself, or just, like, whatever reason, just stop working properly. It's something to do with, like, the weaving.
Well, you know why? It's because the game gets confused.
Yeah,
right?
the game gets confused, KEKW. So there's a chance that instead of warping to the credits cutscene, it just warps you to the Know-It-All Brothers house. And so we affectionately named it KEKW percent because it's like, oh, I'm about to PB. Oh, no, I'm not. I just got baited. And so everyone points and laughs at you.
Both Trip and myself have been on PB pace, and then we just got absolutely wrecked.
Amazing.
Like it's happened to every single runner who's done any percent, and you know PB paces. We've seen world record pace runs as well lose to it completely as well.
Yeah, I think for a while 650 KEKW percent was the world record, and the any percent world record was 651. So it was a faster meme run than the actual like official leaderboard run.
Just pretty funny.
Yeah, because of that, any percent typically ends up being amazing in a masochistic Stockholm syndrome kind of way, you know.
I can quit whatever I want.
That's right. Yep. The trap, the eternal trap of any percent.
I've told Trip that like yeah, when I was running any percent, it was probably the most like infuriating time I've had with this game. It still is, to be fair, but it's just it's interesting to showcase.
It's one of the early categories where like if you mess up just walking like somewhere, you'll have to reset if you're going on world record pace, which can be pretty tedious if you're not the kind of person who's in for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Trip's just on walking while talking here to set up that second camera manipulation glitch.
So I've got a vague interview question for you.
Yeah.
With the announcement of Nintendo doing a bunch of new subscription stuff, scam, obviously. Do you expect it to impact the speedrun in any way if you're able to just play Ocarina of Time on the Switch?
Depends if it's faster or not. Yeah.
It could honestly go either way very easily. Nintendo have a strange track record with their emulated releases. The Wii U in particular is the Wii U in particular, for example, is very fast, but it's got a ridiculous amount of input lag, so much so that no one wants to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I reckon Switch will have the fastest loading times, like no doubt, but it comes down to whether or not input lag, whether or not we can get the practice ROM on Switch, other things, and time. That's any percent.
Nice.
Hey, there you go. No KW.
That was a 7 minutes 47, by the way.
Yeah.
I have no idea what a good time in that category is, but it seems reasonable to me.
7:10
as a reference,
and under, I feel like would be a good time.
Yeah, the current record is a 6:49, and Trip's current PB is
7:08.
I crashed.
Right, yep.
I crashed. I know what happened. I know exactly what happened there.
Welcome to any percent, everyone.
Yeah, welcome to 80%. I don't know.
That's what happens if you don't get the angle right. The game just crashes. And it's just like, yeah, cool. That's it.
I
does that count as a KEKW? Does that count as
Should we count that as KEKW?
Should we count that as KEKW?
Should we count it? All right.
Everyone playing KEKW at home, you owe us $50 towards the bonus no SMW, no SM race incentive. So
Hang on
get
a
those
sec.
donations in.
Yeah, I'm doing the donation now because I'm a man of my word.
Nice scripted RNG there, Mika. Just a showcase, right?
Kicked up, kick W. Thanks, Trip.
So yeah,
Tabs,
so
and
that's
Benj.
we'll leave them there. But yes, that's another perfect example of another run similar to Link to the Past, where just some things happen and then the game's over. In that regard, I don't want to give an hour-long TED talk, to be honest, on why SRM works.
The very, very long turned short version is they're rewriting code in the game.
Yeah.
Using the game. Like, it's all within the confines of the game. No game genie stuff.
Yeah, it's just... Like, I mean, you heard him talk about, like, I've got a specific file name. That's because it's binary data. I'm just going to use this rock for a minute. It's, yeah. Yeah, computer science lecture time. Okay, excuse me. All right, who wants Comp Sci 101? You'll walk out of here with a bachelor. Like.
You see me disconnect.
So yeah, so that's actually really it. That was the, if I click there, end of slideshow. But as said, we did want to take any questions. Obviously, if you've got any questions, now's the time to ask them, because we'll probably start looking towards closing this one up. Bakerman84 did have a question, which was, how do you cope with frustration? Sometimes you have to take breaks from time to time or shake hands. I mean, yeah, look, when I used to run, I used to stream a lot when I did runs, which was it did certainly make it a bit tougher to just like take breaks, because obviously you're streaming, everyone's there.
You've got to entertain.
Go entertain, exactly. It's the nature of the beast. By the same token, though, yeah, absolutely. Like, the amount of runs. So I used to run a game, Splinter Cell Conviction, and the main reason I stopped running it was because I think, if I remember correctly, it was like the first 15 minutes of the run was like 8 minutes of cutscenes. So, and level 3, which was like the end of that first 15 minutes, was not stupidly hard, but it was difficult enough that it was like sort of a reset point. And every single time I'd stuff up on level 3, it was just painful, because you'd sit there and you just, I have to watch all those cutscenes again. And I just sort of sit there and, slump into a liquid. And it was just so tough. It was just so tough. So you'd sort of sit there for a couple of minutes and you'd just be like, hey guys, let's just go turn to your chat. Hey, let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. And yeah, so that was at least that was my experience at least. And yeah, so yeah, sometimes you do just have to like take a break, and sometimes you take multi-day or multi-week breaks from a given game or speedrunning generally.
Yeah.
I mean, there were plenty of times when I just like take a week or two and just play CS:GO with mates. Like,
yes. Good times ahead.
Yeah, it was stuff. I'm not speedrunning.
with frustration when it comes to speedrunning, like, obviously this is one of those scenarios where it's like the answer is going to be different for everyone. But I have, over the course of my time doing this, I've experimented with many different options. One of them is changing speedruns entirely. Like, if you don't want to break the pace of what you're doing in terms of like a stream, and you've got a decent amount of time left in your stream, you can swap to something else that you are also working on, and just sort of like declutter your head a little bit. People like to do your classic, you get up, you go take like a 5-minute break, get some water, stretch your legs, breathe. Breathe, keep breathing, don't stop breathing. Some people like to do things where they can correctly identify that, like, seeing their split timers for their speedrun showing that they're behind their personal best by a second here, 3 seconds there, a minute or whatever, that gets to them. So they'll hide it and then do a full run without any of that kind of stuff distracting them, and just do the speedrun, talk to their chat, and that can help them sort of get rid of the frustration, because they don't know how fast they're doing the speedrun. And like, chat obviously plays along by not telling the streamer. And it can kind of help you get through some of those frustrations, because obviously if you're seeing just like the first part of the game over and over again, it can get very frustrating. But doing a no reset run where you're like, it doesn't matter how bad this stuff goes, I'm going to finish this. You get to see the rest of the run, you get a bit more experience. It's sort of like, again, it declutters your brain. A lot of with these anti-frustration techniques, it's about disconnecting yourself from what is causing you your frustration immediately. And like, even if it's as simple as you're just not looking at it anymore, it's like that could be enough to just cause you to go, oh, I'm okay now. But it comes down to everyone. So like, I know that generally speaking, the longer you spend speedrunning a game and the better your time gets, the more frustrated you're going to get, because you start off, you learn this new speedrun, you do it the first time, it's the jankiest thing on the planet. You do it a second time, you're damn near half the time, or like huge improvements across the board. And then from there, you sort of start to steady out and like, smooth over the edges, iron out the problems. And then it gets to a point where it's like, your run's actually pretty good, but to beat it, you have to do better. And so you have to perform the whole run at a decent rate. And a lot of what I see some speedruns get trapped in is they don't do enough of the end game. Like, they'll practice it, but they don't do it as part of a full run. And so what they do is they'll reset until they get a good half and then carry that time benefit through the second half, usually not that good. And so from that point onwards, your start of your run is phenomenal. And like, if you're bothered by seeing your splits be bad, that's going to affect you, because you need to do like a near perfect run, and that can drain you out. So like, my personal thing, really, it's like, you really got to like dedicate. If you're doing like a stream and you're like, I'm going to speedrun this game during the stream, you got to be like, all right, look, I'm reaching sort of like the back half of my stream. I know I've got 2 hours left. And my run's an hour and a half. If I get half an hour into this run, then it's a no reset run. I'm just gonna finish it. But if I reset up until half an hour, I've got half an hour to do resets. After that, I do a no reset run. And you ensure that at some point during your play session, you do one full run where you don't worry about what your time is. You're not looking to PB. You just want to finish a speed run. And then that can really help you keep focused on the whole thing, keep your skill level good for the back end, and also help you break out of that mental frustration that might be caused by a specific glitch or a specific segment of the game.
See, Asney's here talking smart, and I'm just sitting here remembering when I was like playing Duke Nukem 3D that I had that episode 1 world record on lock. When I was playing, it was on lock. It was mine.
I will keep it forever. Yeah,
Until someone beat it. But
that's
yeah.
fairly common. I mean, one of the big factors with the speedrun, what makes it most frustrating is what happens at the start. As you mentioned, there was like the first 15 minutes of the game, 8 of its cutscenes. The worse that factor is, the longer the intro of your game is, the more frustrating it's going to get every time, because you feel like you wasted time. Like, I would not want to actually try and do speedruns of Golden Sun, like full runs, because the start of the game, before you leave the first town, is 45 minutes.
Oh.
No joke. You do 2 encounters that entire time, and they're basically scripted encounters, and the rest of it's just maneuvering or mashing through text, and then you finally get out and do the game. 45 minutes, like, no.
Yeah,
That kind of stuff, it would be, if I'm doing a run, it is, I'm doing the whole thing in one hit or not at all.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. So much. Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. Alright, well, we've been here for about an hour and a half, and I don't think I'm seeing any further queries. So we'll probably look to about wrap it up. So look, on behalf of AusSpeedruns, thanks very much for coming along. We did enjoy just giving this little presentation for the Cure Cancer December event. we'll be looking to put this up on YouTube and probably put it up on Twitter and our Discord and so on. So yeah, so if you know anyone who's, was considering speedrunning, not too sure about it, I'd like to think this presentation is going to give a bit of a, pretty fulsome idea of, what's going on and how to get into it, and a couple of example runs, etc.
They're like much like the glitches versus speedrunning thing. This is the tip of the iceberg.
Oh yeah,
The
absolutely.
rabbit hole is very deep.
Yeah, so if anyone does have any questions, feel free to jump into our Discord, which is discord.ausspeedruns.com. Actually, you know what? I'm even gonna just for the sake of the YouTube, I'm gonna make sure that's on the screen now. It's http://discord.ausspeedruns.com, and I will realise that I've stuffed that up. Copy, because I put it on the wrong. Paste duplicate. That is a terrible colour. If I go select colour black, that should work. Perfect. So yeah, so just for the YouTube, we'll just pop that up there. We definitely recommend it because look, Astria's I and a metric ton of other people are always checking the Discord out, seeing what new posts are there. So if you've got questions, well, someone's gonna be able to answer them or at least point you in the right direction. So, look, with that, I think an hour and a half is basically a perfect time to call it a day. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you around.
See you, bye.